Hello everyone, myself Ankita, working as an associate professor in IIMT College of Pharmacy. Today we are going to discuss on a topic pathophysiology of CVS diseases, cardiovascular diseases. Before starting the exact topic, let's have a quick review what is exactly a pathophysiology means. As to the diagram shown below, we can know that pathophysiology is being formed by three words, pathophysiology, where here the patho stands for pathogens of, okay? Next is a physio, that means for functional, and logy is a study. In short, we can see that a study of pathogens or diseases changing the physical and functional structure of an organism or a living being known as pathophysiology. Now moving to the second part, what exactly make pathophysiology differ from physiology and pathology? As we all know that logy is a form or is known as study. So study of a function is known as physiology. Pathology is the study of disease is known as pathology. So pathophysiology attributely means a study of pathogen changing, causes changing in the function and the structure of a living organism is known as pathophysiology. Let's start with the first disease, that is hypertension. Hypertension is commonly known as high blood pressure. Or in short, we can say that when the pressure of a blood on the arterial wall is more than 140 by 90 or 120 by 80 is known as hypertension. Generally, hypertension has been classified in three parts. First, elevated hypertension, where the range of systolic and diastolic increase by 9, means 120 by 80 is equal to 129 by 89. Second is hypertension stage 1, where 120 gets more 10% than is 139 by 99. And at last, the severe and hypertension, when the level of blood pressure increases by more than 140 to 90 is known as severe hypertension. Generally, hypertension does not have any symptoms. When it is left untreated, it causes fatal to us. Sometimes it leads to stroke, heart diseases, and it can be controlled by using like regular exercises, taking medication, proper medication, having healthy lifestyle. We can reduce our blood pressure. Now coming to the topic, what is pathophysiology of hypertension? It can be explained by the topic or like renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system, that is RAS. When there's renin is released from the kidney, and how it is released? When the pressure of pressure in the kidney is decreases, the renin releases. What happened then? Renin just reaches to the blood and form and make a liver to excrete angiotensin. Angiotensin, though is unstable in nature, it has to be converted in angiotensin second, and it is done by an enzyme which is released from the lung, that is angiotensin converting enzyme. Now, as angiotensin second is formed and it reaches to blood, it causes vasoconstriction. Means the flow of blood is decreased because the wall of the arterial wall or vessel wall has been narrowed down. After the angiotensin has reaches the blood, it reaches to adrenal cortex and make it release aldosterone. Aldosterone is a hormone which generally causes sodium water retention. When sodium is released to when what is retained in our body, it causes edema. And when sodium is released, although it is causing vasoconstriction due to angiotensin, now the sodium amount also go and stick to the wall of arteries. Now it leads to the plaque formation, and ultimately the blood flow is decreased. The ischemia has formed. When ischemia has formed, then hypoxia will increase. Hypoxia occurs and the blood pressure increases. This is how the pathophysiology of hypertension occurs. Now coming to the second point, that is atherosclerosis or arteriosclerosis. It is in simple, I can say, when the plaque or the fat is or cholesterol or any other substances which is built up on the arterial wall is known as arteriosclerosis. In short, how it has happened, it is generally linked with the RAS system, we can see. See, once a vessel has been constricted and sodium has been retained, and continuously we are consuming fats and non-degradative oils and smokes and all, what that happens, all that deposit on the arterial wall and leads to the formation of plaque. These plaque, what it does, it blocks the arteries in which the blood flow decreases, and if it continues for the longer time, it causes death. That is a process, or that is a disease known as arteriosclerosis. How does it occur? Let's have a quick review. See, here if you get an aerodygrammatic, hypertension is there because hypertension causes by vasoconstriction along with the retention of sodium. Now, although that we are chain smoker, or we smoke cigarettes, or toxin we have, or we have any kind of hemodynamic changes, and the consumption of low density lipoprotein increases, all that it causes, it get deposited to the wall of arteries. See, when it deposited, it created a damage to our endothelium, to which platelets come and aggregate. Due to aggregation of platelet, the amount of clot forms over there, it increases. Simultaneously, what happened when the low density lipoprotein does not get oxidized, what it also forms a collagen synthesis, right? What happens? All these plaques get deposited to the arterial wall. It generally block the arteries, and due to which the blood flow to the artery decreases, and the hypoxia occur. This is known how the arteriosclerosis causes. When this is not, the plaque is left untreated, it can lead to heart attack, it can lead to heart failure as well. This is how the pathophysiology of atherosclerosis causes. Now coming to the third point, that is angina pectoris. Angina pectoris is simply known as chest pain, or it's chest pain because of the reduced blood flow to the heart. Angina can be, or it is a symptoms of coronary artery disease. It generally happens. There's two words to get described while studying angina pectoris. First is ischemia. Second is your hypoxia. Ischemia, when there is a reduced blood flow, due to which oxygen supply to the body or the heart decreases, due to which a sudden chest pain to the left side occurs. This chest pain is known as angina pectoris. Now coming to the point, pathophysiology of angina pectoris. How it happens? It is also, hypertension is also responsible for angina pectoris. Severe exercises, lactic acid formation, anaerobic respiration, like cigarette smoking, and all of these are responsible for angina pectoris. Due to any of the reasons, when the blood flow or when the blood supply is decreased to the heart, it causes myocardial ischemia. Ischemia simply means decrease of blood flow. When the decrease of blood flow occurs, as we all know, oxygen is carried by the blood, or we can say blood is a carrier of oxygen. Then the oxygen supply also decreases. Now, when the oxygen has not been in our body, the respiration process gets converted into anaerobic respiration. And we all know that end product of anaerobic respiration is lactic acid. Now, this lactic acid forms and get accumulated in our blood vessels, arteries, and which causes narrowing of the arteries. When the narrowing of artery occurs, the supply of the blood decreases and oxygen demand increases. So we get a severe pain on the left side on the chest, that is known as angina pectoris. Now coming to the fourth point, that is heart failure. Heart failure is simply defined as a process or as a condition in which our heart does not pump the blood. Generally, heart failure is defined as two types. It's the right side or left side. When the heart failure occurs and damages the left side of the body, it's called left heart failure. And when it's occur at the right side, it is called right heart failure. Heart failure can be occur when heart does not pump, that is systolic failure, and when blood cannot be filled, that is diastolic failure. Generally, tiredness to the body, limberness, all are the symptoms of the heart failure. To all the heart diseases, hypertension, consumption of low density lipoprotein, smoke, dust, coronary artery diseases are the one of the main reason how heart fails. What happens when the hypertension occurs? There's a primary blockage of our arteries due to the sodium water retention and due to angiotensin, the constriction of vessels. Again, if the arteriosclerosis or atherosclerosis occurs, a plaque deposition start. In short, the oxygen demand increases and supply decreases due to all these variable reasons. Ultimately, what happens? Our heart cardiac workload increases. So exerting pressure more on the wall of heart to increase the blood capacity or blood volume, our heart fails. This is how the heart failure occurs. Now to the last topic, what is heart attack? Heart attack is also known as myocardial infarction. It's generally a blockage of heart muscles due to which decreased blood flow. Heart attack can be we can say that angina pectoris is a type of a heart attack, because in the heart attack, in angina pectoris, a tightness occurs. Sometimes we can confuse that heart attack is a type of angina pectoris, but simply that when the tightness or the chest pain increases a severe, it causes heart attack. And generally it happens due to hypertension, consumption of low volume lipoproteins and all that. It causes heart attack. Coming to the pathophysiology part. When arteriosclerosis occurs, it causes the obstruction of arteries. Arteriospasm occurs, which causes the obstruction of arteries. Plaque formation or thrombo formation, all these create a decrease in the blood flow. When there is a decrease in the blood flow, ultimately oxygen supply to the body will be decreased. When there is oxygen supply decreases, angina is caused because we have a CV. When this occurs and it forms a clot or we have a thrombolysis, it created a permanent thrombus or permanent clot on the artery wall, due to which the cells or that particular area where the blood flow is ultimately decreased is called thrombosis and lead to necrosis. That ultimately, when we can't pump, when we can't get enough oxygen, we can't get enough heart get enough blood on this to pump, it ultimately get stunted. So we get a stroke from the heart, that is known as heart attack. For any confusion, do contact IIMT College of Pharmacy. Thank you and have a good day.